In this video, we're going to show you how to connect your QuickBooks Online account with Teesom. Go ahead and from the job board, click on the main menu, click on Settings, click on Company Setup, and we're going to head to the Integration tab. Now, I've already got QuickBooks open and I've logged into my company account with QuickBooks. And then I'll go ahead and click to expand QuickBooks Online integration. By default, it's going to be set to off. We're going to go ahead and turn this to online, get the success bar to come up, and then we're going to go ahead and hit connect. It'll then open another tab in your browser to allow you to connect to the QuickBooks company that you're currently logged into. So I'm just going to click the drop down here, and as you can see, I have two companies in a sandbox with QuickBooks, so I'm going to select the one that I want. If you have two companies set up in your QuickBooks, you'll just again connect to the one that you want to connect to. So I'll click on that company and then I'll go ahead and hit next. Now, you may get an option that'll ask you to authenticate it. So, for example, QuickBooks doesn't know who Teesom is per se, so it may come up with a box that'll basically say, hey, do you want to authorize Teesom to go ahead and access QuickBooks? And so then you'll just click on, yes, I authorize that. Once you have the integration turned on and you're connected, you can see that you're connected because it'll give you the disconnect option. And then to start setting up the integrator, we're going to click on the Go to Integrator. So click on that. You can see I'm in the QuickBooks Online integration. And we're going to go through each of these 4 tabs to explain what each tab does and how you're going to want to set it up. So of course we're going to start with setup, and I'm just going to click to expand the sales tax. And as you can see, I've already connected my items here, but I can unlink them. So I can actually click the unlink to get rid of the connection that I already have. And then what my intention is to take this tax exempt and find it in QuickBooks. So when I click on the link option, it found something in QuickBooks, and now I can say, yes, I want to link these two together. And then once I hit save, it'll appear in the middle here. Same thing with the sales tax that I have here. I want to click the link option. It found it in QuickBooks, and then I'll go ahead and click link and then hit the save option. And again, I can see that it has linked to it and it shows me the option there. And I'll just repeat that for all these tabs as well. So item taxes basically is the item taxable or is it non-taxable? So we just want to set those two options up. You should already have this in QuickBooks. You just need to link them. And again, I'll unlink mine just so you can see the linking process. So there, it found it in QuickBooks. I'm just going to click link and then hit save, click link, and hit save. Now on the terms, as you can see, I've already linked, and I'm not going to go through all these and unlink them and link them again, but you can see that I've connected them to QuickBooks Online. So again, you'll just go ahead and create it in Teesom, and these are ones that I've already created in Teesom, and then these are the ones that I've linked it to in QuickBooks. All right, QuickBooks item. Now this is an important one. These are all the sales category items that I have in Teesom. And as you can see, I don't have everything linked up because even though I have badges in Teesom, I have not created anything in QuickBooks to marry that up to. So I can't link it. If I click on the link option, I can search and search and search and search, and I'll never find anything to link it to for badges. So I can't link that. So I would literally have to go into QuickBooks. I would go to the sales and go to products and services, and then create a new thing called, and I'd probably put it as a non-inventory item, and I would create the badge item, and then once I create it, I can come back to the QuickBooks Online integration, and I can connect it. I do believe you have to do a refresh, so that could be as simple as hitting F5 on your keyboard to get the refresh going. So again, all these ones that you don't see linked up to anything is simply because I haven't created it in QuickBooks yet. So as soon as I create it, I'll come back over here and I'll click the link option and connect it with something. Okay, let's go ahead and jump to payment method. Again, I've connected pretty much everything except the PayPal option and the wire transfer option. And maybe I'm not even going to use those options, so I probably won't even create them in QuickBooks. And in fact, I could probably delete those out on Teesom's side if I'm not going to be connecting them. Okay, I think you get the gist of setting up and linking things to things in QuickBooks, so let's move on to preferences. All right, in the invoices, let's expand that. And I am going to connect what Teesom needs to know is my AR account in QuickBooks. And pretty much you should only have one option in here. Please ignore mine. My sandbox from QuickBooks has multiple AR accounts in it, but you're probably going to only have one option in here. And this is where you want all the money that's going to be moved over from Teesom. This is where you want it to go to. So I'm going to just click on the one that it was already linked to. All right, the print option. So you have three options. You can say not set, need to print, or print complete. Really what you're doing here is, let me give you two examples of when you would want to do this or not do this. So if you're going to be using Teesom to print the invoice, then you can actually set it to print complete. So when it goes to QuickBooks, it'll actually get marked as if it's already been printed. But if you're only going to use Teesom to send invoices over to QuickBooks, then I would probably leave it on either not set or need to print, so that you know in QuickBooks you still have to print that invoice or send that invoice out to the customer. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions on that, definitely just give me a call. All right, on the email setup, same thing as the print option. Are you going to be sending invoices out of QuickBooks, or are you going to send them out of Teesom? If you're going to use Teesom, then I would just say mark it as sent in QuickBooks. If you're going to be using QuickBooks to email an invoice out, then I would I'd probably put it on not set or need to send, one of those two options. Need to send will show you, you'll be able to filter and say, show me all the ones that need to be sent. So that's kind of almost the better choice there. Okay, auto assign invoice number. I have this turned on. So you can turn it on or off, and let's just read through the little description here. Do you want QuickBooks to automatically generate your invoice number, or would you like to keep it consistent with Teesom's invoice number? When it's set up to auto number from QuickBooks, then we will send through the Teesom invoice number in the private note section to help you track it back to Teesom. So auto assign the invoice number is on, or you have the option to turn it off, and it'll use Teesom's number. If you are going to use the QuickBooks number, then I would add the prefix to the invoice number. So do you see what I've done here is I've said I want in front of all the invoice numbers that get sent over from Teesom, I want to add TS dash in front of it. So that could be an option. You can make this anything. Any kind of 3-digit letter or anything like that. You want to keep it simple, but you can put pretty much anything in there. Okay, the thing about QuickBooks Online is they've gotten rid of the sales rep and purchase order numbers. So we've added them back in, but they're actually a custom field. So you actually have to set this up in your QuickBooks to say, I want custom field 1 to be the sales rep, and I want custom field number 2 to be the purchase order number. And once you do that, then you would set it up in here to say, hey, the custom field 1 is sales rep, custom field 2 is the purchase order number. And you don't need to use these if you don't care about the sales rep being in QuickBooks, or you don't care about the purchase order number being in QuickBooks. You don't need to do this. I like to have that information in QuickBooks, so I actually set it up that way. All right, let's jump ahead to payments. So under payments, it says send reference, and you have you have 3 options here. Last 4 numbers of the credit card, or you can do the payment reference, or you can not send anything. Up to you. I like to put in the payment reference. That way, if it's a check, it's going to put in the check number. If it's a credit card, it'll put in the authorization number. Whatever you capture in the payment reference, that's what it's going to send over. If it's cash, it's going to put the initials of the person who took the cash. So if you want to put it on last 4 card, that's fine. But just know if you send a check over, it's not going to put anything, because there are no last 4 numbers of a card for a check. Apply payments to. I like to leave this option on same as Teesom, because if I took a payment and applied it to an invoice in Teesom, I want it to do the exact same thing in QuickBooks. So that's why I selected the option as same as Teesom. If you don't apply, then you will physically have to marry the payment up to the invoice in QuickBooks yourself. And then if you do QuickBooks apply, same principle, because QuickBooks doesn't know that money is for that invoice. So it'll show it as a payment under the customer, but it won't marry it up. You will have to physically and manually marry that payment up. All right, the last one is purchase orders. And same thing with the accounts receivable. You're going to want to find the correct one, and typically there's only one option in there. I'm sorry that mine is showing 2, but typically there's only one option in there. And then the next field is auto assign purchase order number. Again, same as the invoice, you can either set it on or off. And then you can also set the prefix. If I have it off, I don't really need the prefix, but if I have it on, I do probably want to use the prefix. Same thing with the PO custom fields. This is the confirmation reference, and then the second one is the vendor reference. So again, you'll have to set this up in QuickBooks first to say custom field 1 is going to be the confirmation reference. Custom field 2 is going to be the vendor reference, and then you can see those appear in the drop down. These options will not appear in the drop down until you set them up in QuickBooks first. I just want to make that very clear. The sync option is how you're going to sync your customers as well as your suppliers. And as you can see, I've already linked all of my customers up these are the ones from Teesom, and you can see that they've already been married up to ones in QuickBooks Online. Again, same thing, I can unlink it. I really don't want to. As you can see, we've married them all up. But what I probably will do, once I come out of this, I'll create a new customer, and then I'll come back to the sync so we can send it over again. Okay, let's see if we have any suppliers. Yep, all the suppliers are linked up as well. If I do need to edit it, I can edit it. So I can also update. So if the contact in QuickBooks was just a little bit different, maybe it had a different phone number or a different contact, I can actually say, look, updated in Teesom, I want to use this contact information, or vice versa. And this is the same for the customer as well. So if I think this is the better supplier information, I can say, hey, update that in QuickBooks. So right now I'm just viewing it to see that it's already married up. So I'll just cancel this. All right. I'll click on the export option, and let's hope that there's something in here. If not, I'll create something and then come back and show this. So we've got invoices here. Okay, I do have one invoice that I can send over, and by default it is showing me all invoices not sent to QuickBooks yet. And as you can see, I can filter by different options. I can say show new ones first or show old ones first. I can put in an invoice number specifically that I'm looking for. So I can put in a range, 10,000 to 10,020, that kind of thing. Or I can say, show me only completed orders. So show me only orders that are at the shipped pickup stage. And those are the ones I want to send over to QuickBooks. And then I can show either paid or unpaid or all as far as the payment status goes. Okay. Let's say you're just starting off with Teesom and you're kind of using QuickBooks still as your point of sale or what have you. And this kaleidoscope hair invoice is actually already in QuickBooks. We manually entered it in QuickBooks and we manually entered it in Teesom. Well, I don't want to send it again to QuickBooks. So I could actually select this option to say mark as sent, where I want to actually tell QuickBooks, look, you already have this, or I can send it. So let's go ahead and send it, and then we'll jump over to QuickBooks and look. So the invoice amount is $1154.98, and it's invoice 10,002. So let's go ahead and hit send. And as you can see, it needs to link the customer. So let's go ahead and hit fix it. And we want to link the customer and then go ahead and hit save. And we'll click on kaleidoscope hair. And there we go. There's the invoice there. So I'll go ahead and click on invoice. And you can see there's the $1154. And we have no money associated with this yet. Now, if we jump back to QuickBooks integration and go to payments, yeah, we have no payment for this. So that'll be something also that we'll do. We'll take a payment on that, and then we'll come back to this and show you how to send the payment over. So it'll marry up with the invoice automatically in QuickBooks. All right, let's go to purchase orders. Yeah, we don't have anything in here. Okay, so let's actually open the kaleidoscope hair order, and let's go ahead and take a payment, and then we'll come back to the integrator. Okay, so here's our kaleidoscope hair order. I'm just going to open the order, and let's go ahead and take a deposit on this. So $1154.98, we'll just call it $500. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say take payment, and let's do a check, and let's only take $500, and we'll put the check number as 21584. And I'm going to uncheck this and confirm the payment. Okay. So now let's create a new customer, and I'm just going to go over here to customers. I don't want to create a new order. I just want to create a new customer, and I'll kind of fast forward through this. Go to the main menu, and now look at this. Now that I've already synced Teesom with QuickBooks, all I have to do is click on the QuickBooks option here in the main menu, click on Go to Integrator, and then we'll go ahead and go to the sync option. We should have one customer in here that isn't synced, and we'll go ahead and click on Link. And what it's saying right now is it can't find a match. There's nothing in QuickBooks. So we want to hit the Created in QuickBooks option. And then we want to go ahead and hit Send. Now it's linked them. And then we'll go ahead and hit the Cancel button. And we'll do a refresh here. and that'll show up that they're now synced. There we go. And same thing with the suppliers. So we've got Madeira thread. We'll go ahead and click on the link option. It's not finding anything. If you would have called it the Madeira thread company in QuickBooks, we would probably want to search for anything that starts with the, and it still doesn't find anything. So just make sure that if you don't call it the exact same thing in Teesom and in QuickBooks, you can still marry them up. You just need to go find it manually and then link them up together. All right, so Madeira doesn't exist in QuickBooks. We're going to go ahead and click on Create in QuickBooks. And then go ahead and hit the Send option. And then go ahead and now you can see it's linked, because obviously if I want to unlink it, I can click this option. So that tells me it's linked, and then I'll go ahead and hit Save. If I hit refresh over here, okay, on the export, we had a payment that we wanted to send over for Kaleidoscope. So we're going to have, we're just going to click on the send option. Obviously, you have that option for mark as sent as well. If you've already taken the payment in QuickBooks, then click on the mark as sent. If you don't have the payment over in QuickBooks, we'll go ahead and use the send option to send it over. And let's go over to QuickBooks. We're going to close out of that, even though that's where we want to be. We want to do a refresh over in QuickBooks. And there you can see the payment now. So Kaleidoscope Hair, here's their invoice, and there's their payment. And if I open the invoice, because I married it in Teesom, it's now married in QuickBooks. And you always want to send the invoice over first. If you send the payment over first, it's not going to know that it's married to that invoice. So just get in the habit of sending the invoices first and then the payments second to QuickBooks. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this makes sense to you, and look for other future Teesom videos. Thank you.